Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today's topic theories about planetary motion. Dear students, one thing comes in your mind. In past also, it was when it was the beginning of the universe. One subject was of keen interest. Why sunrise every day in the east and sets in the west? Again and again, sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Why it is not moving away? Or similarly, moon comes one side and disappears in the other side. Next day it appears in the same place. Why it happens? In in ancient times, philosophers thought there must be a force of attraction between them which comes into contact. This force was developed without into a contact. Without in contact, that means when body is away from one body is here, one body, there is a force of attraction between these two bodies. This was the thought of the philosophers in early stage. So there is a force between sun and earth, and sun does not leave it. There may be a certain reasons why earth and sun does not come close but keeps on rotating. This was in the earlier, in the past they thought. मैं आपको फिर ये बताना चाहता हूँ, जब पुराने ज़माने में लोग इट वाज द बिगनिंग ऑफ द यूनिवर्स, लोग ये सोच रहे हैं सूरज क्यों हर रोज़ ईस्ट के सनराइज वाई इट राइज इन द ईस्ट एंड सेट्स इन द वेस्ट, ये क्यों नहीं आगे की तरफ जा रहा है, फिर दूसरे दिन वे फिर ईस्ट की तरफ आ रहा है, वेस्ट की तरफ जा रहा है. जिस जगह मून अपेयर हो रही है एक दिन, दूसरी तरफ फिर वो डिसअपेयर हो रहे हैं, दूसरे दिन फिर उधर ही अपेयर हो रहे, फिर डिसअपेयर हो रही. पुराने ज़माने में पीपल आर ऑफ थॉट देयर इज सो स्ट्रॉन्ग फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन बिटवीन द अर्थ एंड द सन, एंड सन डज नॉट लीव इट. There must be certain reasons why earth and sun does not come close but keeps on rotating. First man we developed the theory, there is a force, and he said there is a force between the planet earth and the stars and the sun, and stars are revolving. For the very beginning, which comes into our knowledge, is 200 years back. It is from 200 years back. Which philosopher was it? Was Ptolemy. Ptolemy. Ptolemy was a philosopher. He says earth is a main object and it has a power to attract sun. He says earth is a main object and it has a power to attract sun or other planets. Okay, it was the thought of a this, when earth is a main object and it has a power to, this concept is called, since earth is called geo, it is called geocentric. Geocentric means go, earth lies at the center and the sun and the planets, they are revolving around it. According to this model, the earth remains stationary at the center. According to this model, earth remains stationary. Earth is stationary. Geocenter, earth is stationary at the center. And all planets, moon, sun and other stars revolve around it, and all planets moon and sun revolve around it. This model was given by, this model is called a geocentric model, and this model was given 200 years back. It was Ptolemy. He gave this model. He says that earth lies in the center and planets and sun and others since earth lies at the center, the planets and the sun, they are revolving around it. But The concept, latest concept, correct theory was given by Indian philosopher. Since we know that this is geocentric, this theory was later on discarded. Correct theory was first given by Indian philosopher, that is Aryabhat. That means Indian philosopher Aryabhat. 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 That means correct theory was given by Indian philosopher, his name is Aryabhat, in 500 AD. 500. Almost 1500 years, 1500 years back. Years back. Aryabhat proposed that Earth revolves around Sun along with other planets and also rotates its own axis. Aryabhat आर्यभट्ट ने क्या बताया आर्यभट्ट ने proposed that earth revolves around sun earth revolves around sun along with other planets and also rotates about it and also rotates around its own axis. He was able to explain the phenomena like solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, formation of days and night. That means Aryabhat had explained the formation of solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, formation of days and nights. That means this is the concept of helicenter. This is the concept of that means helicenter. That means sun is located at the center. Heli is the center. Centric. Helicentric. That means this concept was given first of Aryabhat. But this theory remains in India on our books in Europe. Why? Because there was no contact between East and West. There was no contact. This theory remains in India on our books. Why? Because there was no contact there. Because there was no contact between East and West. Contact की वजह से East and West. That means first modern concept of heliocentric contribution. This concept was given by Aryabhat. That means later on this model, this concept in European many developed countries take place. Copernicus, this concept was given by later on Copernicus. Let's say this was first Aryabhat's concept. This heliocentric concept model. This was first given by in European country. It was given by Copernicus. Copernicus, and I see as Copernicus. But one problem lies here. But church was not looking over it. The church was not very kind to it. जो concept Copernicus ने church was not very kind to it. They said our planet Earth is the boss, the king. The church said the planet, our planet Earth is the boss and the king, and all other planets and stars are moving around Earth. It is written in our books. That means this concept, the Copernicus, which gave the concept of heliocentric, it was discarded by the church. They said our planet Earth is the boss. A church said, Earth is boss, Earth is boss, and the and king, king. All other planets are moving around it. It is written in our books. That means church said that it is written in our book that that means they did not accept this concept. Which concept? Which was given by Copernicus, which was given by Copernicus, and did not like it anything which opposes which is written in your books. So they said it is against religious and was given death penalty. This Copernicus was given death penalty by saying that this sun is center and earth and other planets are revolving around it, but the church opposed it. They said it is against our ethic, it is against our book, and they give the penalty sentence, death penalty sentence to Copernicus. Now same time the Galileo agreed with him. जो हेलोसेंट्रिक जो कॉपरनिकस ने दिया था, दिस मॉडल वाज एग्रीड बाय गिलेलियो, दिस मॉडल वाज एग्रीड बाय गिलेलियो, GALILEO, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, जिस मॉडल वाज एग्रीड बाय गिलेलियो के. बट Galileo has a lot of faith. He gave many laws of inertia, concept of mass. He says that gravity is the same in any mass or in any mass. He gave these concept, but church did not agree. A lot of friction between the church and the Galileo again came into existence, but again the church did not agree it. Church did not agree it. There was a lot of conflict between the church and this. Ultimately, finally Galileo was so much tortured. Galileo was tortured by the church, tortured. He had given written. Then ultimately he gave written that geocentric is correct. That means he gave centric was correct. That means why? Because he was tortured a lot. That's why he gave written that geocentric was correct. But there is a very famous sentence, last sentence of Galileo, that if sun is stationary and earth moves around it because I have to save my life. That means Galileo ने बताया लास्ट में, अगर basically he knows that this model geocentric is incorrect, actually heliocentric, that the sun is stationary and earth are moving around it, but there was a lot of conflict between the church and the Galileo. Ultimately but the church did not agree. Lot of friction between the church and the Galileo. Finally Galileo was so much tortured, वो इतना torture हुआ, ultimately he gave written that geocentric is correct. Ultimately he wrote a last sentence that sun is stationary and earth moves around it because I have to save my life. That no, if sun, that means if, that means earth, because he told this that geocentric is correct because I have to save my life. Otherwise he knows that this method is discarded because he proved that heliocentric method is correct method. Last method जो आपने contribution to this Tycho Brahe, he was this astronomer, and Kepler. They gave last. Ultimately, they made a conclusion. Last जो मतलब contribution of जो fourth contribution है, contribution of Brahe and Kepler. Tycho Brahe, 1546 to 1610. At the age of 25 years, made extraordinary observation by studying the motion of planets and stars without the aid of telescope. That means this Tycho Brahe, he made most important contribution as extraordinary observations by studying the motion of planet. He made extraordinary observations by studying the motion of planets and stars without the aid of telescope. Without aid of telescope for 25 years. For 25 years, not a joke, for 25 years. 20, he was collected he collected he collected lot of data in a room, diaries, and these rooms and diaries were full of these data. That means when he made observation in 25 years, motion of planet and stars with different times, he collected these data and made note down these data in data room, and these were in full of the diaries. A lot of data was collected by him, but before he could release it, he came to the conclusion he was no more in 1601. He was no more in 1601, because that means before publishing anything he was no more in 1600. After that, Kepler came carried his work, and he gave that means he collected the data which was collected by him the last 25 years. He analyzed these data. Kepler analyzed these data, and he carried out his work. And when he carried out his work, data was critically analyzed over a period of 20 years. By this, he was from these complicated data, Kepler deduced a simple relation that governed planetary motion. और उसने जब with the help of these data he gave the relations between he governed planetary motion. He gave simple relations that governed planetary motion, and he gave the three laws. Kepler gave the three laws on the basis of analysis of these data. These are called Kepler's law of gravitation. These are very important laws. That means ultimately this was decided that this sun is stationary at the center, and Earth and other planets are revolving around it. This is the contribution. I hope in next class we will study the Kepler's law of gravitation. Thank you very much.